Okay. Hi, guys. Welcome to Living Abroad, the podcast, our first episode for 2025. Potwam. Thank you so much for being patient.
You
We have been
first,
planning
first episode.
first episode of 2025, and thank you so much for pulling me out of the woodworks because I've been like, I just had a baby. Let me lose weight. Let me look nicer. And you'll be like, hey, are we doing this or what? Like,
Yo, lose weight. Yeah. Thank
yeah.
God I'm not a lady. Yo, thank God. Then you'll have to wait forever until I see a dentist. Like will never have those worries.
Well, yeah, it's
Ah,
nice to be you guys. Yeah, Putram, but honestly, thank you so much for making time, right? I know you are very busy, and thank you so much for pushing
mm-mm.
this and being patient.
I know losing weight is not an easy thing, but I see these things. It's not easy. You're a lady, so for guys with just muscles, so 2 weeks. Yeah, when plus being emotional on top. That's the problem. It's not even the
Yeah, ne?
fats, it's the emotion. Yeah.
I thank you so much for actually pushing it, and now we are doing it and being patient.
Okay, now we
And
here.
yeah,
Now
if
we
you
here.
yeah, if you can maybe please introduce yourself the way you would like people to know you.
I'm Seya. I'm a comedian. Yeah, based in South Africa, Port Elizabeth. But no one knows where I stay because one day I'm this side, the next I'm that side. So I also don't know where I'm based, but I'm a comedian.
Hey, at the bank, which address do you have at the bank? A Capitec.
Where I open the bank, that's what they know. Where I open the bank.
Emdantsane ke ngoku.
Yeah, that's where I opened the bank. And then,
Uyabona
yeah,
umntana ukustock emdantsane.
uh, everywhere.
So, but at the moment, where are you? Use-PE eGqeberha.
I'm in Quebec now.
Where about eGqeberha? Emagxaki.
What do you know? What do you know?
Yeah, I
Motherwell.
actually have a
Motherwell.
story. A Motherwell. Like,
Uh-huh.
so where is Emagxaki?
Where's my clock? I don't know. I don't know. I'm not quite familiar with PE that much. I know Motherwell.
Oh, okay. So are you working there at the moment? You're just there for a gig.
No, I stay. I stay here. I did my high school here, so I'm around
Okay.
here. I stay here. Yeah, well, I feel like being in PE now because PE, there's a culture. You know, in Eastern Cape, I write better when I'm here. You know, there's a live performance culture that's here. The only place in
Mm.
Eastern Cape that has like jazz, live jazz. Like, you can go to a jazz band and just try out new material. You don't even need an
Mm.
open mic, a comedy open mic. You can just go to a jazz band, a jazz session, and just do something. I prefer PE than anywhere else these days in terms of writing, anyway.
In
Because
terms of
once you are in
creativity.
a Yeah, because once you're in Joburg or Cape Town, there's so many comedy shows. You're gonna end up sounding more like other comedians,
Mm.
and lose yourself. So when I want to write, I come to Eastern Cape.
A Motherwell.
Tanzania and Motherwell, both sides, but I for writing and playing on stage at the same time, Motherwell is home.
Because when you look at like your first like materials, like in your like early career, right? You were like,
Mm-hmm.
like your comedy was in this pause. And I can see
Mm-hmm.
now lately you are transitioning to English. And it's interesting that you
Mm-hmm.
say now you find your voice and like, your creativity, Eastern Cape, your roots. So how has that journey been like? Just tell me about that.
I started doing comedy in English because there was no Venek or xhosa comedy things that I knew at that time because I started comedy in 2007.
Mm,
So 8, 9, 10. Then in 2010, I saw Skhumba, Isaac Gambu, Justice Kubek, no Felix Shope doing comedy in their language. So
mm,
it was a shock for me to see people doing comedy in a South African language because you
mm.
only know Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle and all of them. So yeah, the
Oh,
moment I So the moment I saw those guys, I was like, damn, this is what I need to do. I already found my voice in English because I did it for 4 years.
Mm.
Um, and then now I had to learn writing content in my own language. And that took me about good 3 years of dying on stage. Yeah.
Yeah, that is so interesting because I
Mm.
would think it's the other way around.
No, because it's Xhosa. Knowing jokes in Xhosa, I know like yeah, guarana, like you roast each other. You know, that's the only
Senhloko
jokes I
enkulu.
know. As a Xhosa person, I grew up being roasted in Xhosa.
Eh,
Uh, and you think, that's funny. Being funny was roasting someone else. There was no stage, there was no stand-up comedian,
mm,
Uh, we are one of the first to actually do it. So
mm,
the people that did it in my time, because the first guy I saw doing comedy in Xhosa was a guy called Anele Shube, and he's a killer. Like he introduced it to us. It's not even Skhumba and the rest of them, but the
mm,
first guy to do it in Xhosa out just in Tanzania, and it was well written material. Uh, like if those jokes were to be translated to English, it would still kill. But it
mm,
was amazing seeing him doing the way he did, without quartering anyone, without roasting anyone.
mm,
So he was our template. Yeah, it was not easy at all. It was not because Xhosa is attitude, you know. There's certain things like the noise, like you see, we are loud. The neck has all these other things that English doesn't have,
mm,
in terms of deliver. So
mm.
it took me a long time.
And I mean, if you did you study a Lokshin, like your schooling or Bukuma suburbs, Model C?
In the township, never.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. So
I date the
even,
suburb girls, but
but even like for
mm,
me, when I try to write, because I studied years college.
mm,
That's why I studied in the high school. So I mean, sometimes like if even like your English teacher is a Xhosa person, and they teach you English
exactly.
in Xhosa. So now, if you are a
Hmm.
creative, you need to translate yourself somehow. It's not easy.
Yeah. It's not easy at all. But the trick is once you are good at both, in terms of comedy,
Mm,
once you started with English and then learn the closer way of doing things,
mm,
or the Venek way of doing things, you start writing your jokes in English, and then they are easier to translate to Xhosa. Because it's Xhosa or African languages, they don't have that. That it's not, bruh. It's hard to write English material. It's quite
mm,
hard because the timing, the what. Xhosa, they don't care about the delay. What
mm.
it's the delivery that's most important. But if you have the joke down in English and this joke kills in English, obviously it's gonna do well in Xhosa because you're gonna add those certain things.
Wow, being bilingual, it's really interesting. Like even
It
like
is
what
dope.
yeah, it's so amazing. So okay, when I'm Guarano, so which were you that type a class and there was always that joke almost every time the teacher says something, this person has to say something and waste our time.
Mm.
Were you that type?
Nah, I was a quiet one. I still am quiet. Most comedians they don't have that background, the class clown background. We
Oh,
are
in class
all
ground,
quiet.
actually they are not talented because I thought they will go on to become like
No, oh, you are the class clown, useless. Use always. It's like those ones were beautiful in at school, and now it took them. Yeah, they were beautiful very fast, and then
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
average
because the
very
boys
fast.
most
So
they chase them very fast as well.
uh, no, they like the boys very fast. Yeah, they
Uh,
were. Yeah,
or
their
it's the other way
their peak
around.
was their peak was too early.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you were not the class clown.
No, I was actually a good student. I was the book one. I will do everyone's assignment. Yeah, I was the focused one.
So what did you want it to be? Because I can't imagine you think like at 10, 12, thinking that you're gonna become a comedian. So what did you want
No,
it to be?
this is the industry I wanted. I didn't know comedy because that time Kwaito was the thing. My time Kwaito was the thing.
Hmm.
So we go to studio, we recorded Kwaito. Uh, and luckily I was new in PE. I was still 15 when I came here, so I was introduced to that performance culture. So I quickly embraced it.
Mm.
I did poetry, did kwaito, community theater, you
Oh,
know.
that space, you knew you were gonna be
Yeah.
in this. Yeah.
Yeah, because that space, I think, I love writing. That's the most thing I like about comedy is the writing more than the performance, you know. So the writing,
Mm.
if you love the writing, the performance is the is the final part of the ingredients. The hardest is the writing. So
Mm.
yeah. Then I went to tertiary. I did at MSc College. I did a audio visual studies. I did a
Okay.
diploma there because I wanted to be on radio. At the end, I wanted radio.
Okay.
And then yeah, in pursuit for radio, I found comedy. I was like, yeah, it's almost like it's
Oh,
almost like radio.
yeah. So, and then when do you decide, like, okay, now I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna be
Yeah.
paid doing it. I'm good enough to be paid doing it.
When I saw that these CVs are not being taken seriously, yeah, but like every time I send a CV, there's no call back, there's nothing. I knew like uh let me choose this one thing and be good at it and then see because I remember the only time I saw Trevor Noah was in Cape Town Long Street. There was a club called Zulapa. He
Mm.
performed there and I saw his car. I was driving a black Jeep parked outside. I was like, okay, these people they can afford these cars with jokes, you know.
Mm.
And I was like, imagine if I can focus and just and leave the stress of working or looking for a job. I will see what happens. And then yeah, took me a
Oh,
time. It took me a long time, but
so you planned it. It's not
mm,
like, oh, like someone put me on stage and I didn't know I was funny and then it just happens. You actually worked on it, on being funny and
yeah,
writing the jokes.
yeah. In English, I died for 2 years. In Xhosa, I died for three. You know, so I had a good 5 years of not being funny, of not knowing what I was doing. But I enjoyed getting on stage. You know, so yeah, I planned it.
The concept like of coming up with a joke, right? I listened to Dave Chappelle. He explained it like
Mm,
how he does it. He says, I'm so good at this that I just write I start with a punchline. I don't know if you've heard that. He start writing a
yeah, I heard
punchline
that.
and then he puts them in a cup somewhere. And then he will just pick up one piece and then just read it. And then he will come up with a
Mm.
joke around the punchline.
Yeah,
What
that
is your
was him
process?
sending me. That was him sending messages to comedians. I think.
Really?
One, one that could be the thing. He was sending messages to some comedians. I'm sure because that was ego, 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 ego. You know, comedians
Really?
struggle with coming up with new material. You know how like write comedians and writing and knowing that a joke is gonna kill. Like there's comedians who've been doing the same set for 10 years, bruh.
So what do
Like
you
people
think
are
he
just
was saying there? Because for me, I was like, wow, this is crazy. And he was
now
like,
he's
okay,
just showing off.
hmm?
He was showing off. It's either that, you know, and then he was showing off his experience, like, you know, he's been around and whatnot. But writing jokes is not easy at all. Like, it is one of the hardest things. It's not like I said, there's like comedians who've been doing the same material for 10 years,
No
you know,
way.
because the fear of going on stage with new material, it's like starting comedy all over again.
I wanted to explain
So
that. I mean, maybe like back in the days, it was easy to say the same joke all over again because you go to a club, you say it, and then no one is actually recording it. But now, how hard is it with
mm,
social media? Because people, I mean, the minute you go on stage, someone has a phone and then they'll be sharing it.
they don't care, bruh. They don't care. They do the same set that trended. They don't care. They don't care. If they are scared of writing new material, they
Mm.
go and do it. Because some audiences, they want they've seen it online, but they want you to do it live again. You know,
So
so
it's not a
they
problem.
don't care. They don't care. They don't care. Because with me, how I started, the first 2 years when I died in English on stage, it's because I was writing about things I knew nothing about. I was joking about things that they were already joking about on TV. What I thought was cool to joke about anyway, like
Mm.
white people, black people, and everything that I knew nothing about, anything that I thought was cool to talk about, I was talking about it, and that was the reason I died. And then once I started talking about things I was experiencing and things I knew, things I was going through. That's when it started being easy, killing on stage, and that's why I think like, oh, this guy, uh, Dave Chappelle is doing the transgender jokes. It's because the industry, that it has tortured him so much that he understands. So he's more talking about the industry and the transgender and all of that. And Cat Williams as well. They do that because they are industry boys, so they know they don't like the industry, but they have no choice. But emotionally, they don't like the industry, so they talk about it. Anyway, that's my opinion. So they talk about those transgender things and what's happening in Hollywood. And it's easy for them to write about that because it's what hurt them the most, So I think that's the message Dave Chappelle was sending, that these jokes are easy because they're writing themselves. Like I could do whatever I want. Because Dave Chappelle is not like this guy, Benny Mac. Benny will talk about all his kids, He's not talking industry because for
Kevin
the
Hart as
longest
well.
time,
Kevin Hart as well will talk
yes,
about his wife,
Kevin
his
Hart as well.
children.
Kevin Hart, talked about his father almost killing him, which is a true story. He's talking about deep, deep, deep things about himself. So that's why it's easier for them to like come up with a special every year.
I've always wondered, like now that you're mentioning it, right? When a comedian like is saying something and you're like, how much of this is true? Like for instance, I'll take, I mean, how you joke about how your son was conceived, you know? And you
100%. That was 100%. I remember the round. I remember. I wish I didn't, but I do.
you just like, how much of this is true? Or how much of it is like he had it from somewhere else and then he's just inserting himself? Do you do that? Or is it 100% like true?
It's better to talk about what you know. The source is the experience, and then it just writes itself. I call this other lady because I'm doing new material. So as I'm writing about the content is based about the most intimidating things about women, right? So and I'm saying that we are not intimidated by how you look and how much money you have or your
Yeah.
car. The most intimidating woman is the funny woman, like, because funny is
Celeste.
the measurement of it.
Celeste Nduli.
Yeah,
Celeste Nduli.
yeah, yeah. But I'm not talking about a comedian. I'm talking about generally.
Oh,
You
okay.
know, like a lady who's funny, like Jay,
Naturally.
relaxed and whatnot, naturally. Not She doesn't have to be a stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was talking about that, and then I remembered someone, and an experience I had, and then I called them, and then look, bruh, I'm writing something. I just want to put the experience on the thing. Do you mind? They are married now, so do you mind if I put the experience? They're like, no, I can't wait to hear it. Okay, sharp.
But
So
just don't
yeah,
mention my name.
no, there's no mention of names, just the experience.
You savage most. If you say everything you talk about is true, the whole thing about selling
Bruh,
someone's wedding ring, that was.
that oh yeah, that was almost true, but not the ring, but that was the spice of the story.
So what did you
Yeah.
say? What did you say with that?
Nothing was sold. Nothing was sold. It's like you wish, you saw how expensive that thing is. Like, damn, she might lose but it's the naughty mind, man. It's like, because when you're funny, you can take your mind anyway. You can take the joke anyway. It doesn't have to be straight. You can take other things and just mix them
Twist
up,
and
and
turn.
then they call it a callback when you talk about something, and then you leave it, and then you talk about something else, and then you come back to that story again, and then people are like, "Wow, that was a dope callback." So,
That's
so
art,
yeah,
man.
a joke you can take it anyway,
Mm.
anyway.
So you don't
Yeah,
just get up like once in the morning and then you just go and make a joke. It is strategy, it's practice.
but it could be something you wrote last year and then you left it there, and then it comes back this year, and then you're like, okay, so it's art, bro. That's why comedians, they love hip hop more, because that's brother and sister, So I look up to rappers more than I look up to comedians, because
Yeah,
their art is like, yeah.
I can imagine Eminem being a dope comedian.
He is.
Yeah,
He is. That's why Cat
definitely.
Williams is saying. That's why Cat Williams is saying rappers are funnier than comedians, and they
Yeah.
are. They
Yeah.
are.
50 cents.
Mm.
Do you see how 50 cents, how funny 50 cents is?
And then there's a Cancerian on top, so obviously it's gonna be fun. Yeah,
I take it that's you then.
yeah. All
Uh,
Cancerians are funny. Yeah.
yeah, and now you talk about meeting Skhumba. How did that come about?
Mm-hmm. I met him here in PE when I was based here. There was a 99% Xhosa comedy show.
Mm,
That's how I knew of Venek, through them.
mm,
And then, yeah, and that I remember in East London, the first time I did Xhosa comedy myself, there were like 5 comedians from PE.
mm.
Seya was hosting. Skhumba was coming out. It was not Skhumba yet, but he was coming up, and
Policeman Skhumba.
I think it just quit the
Oh,
situation. Yeah, yeah, because it was booked and busy, but no TV things yet.
ah,
So yeah, and then Skhumba was like, because Skhumba has always been chacharach backstage, so
mm,
he was like, the first when we're doing a lineup, so it's like the first comedian who's gonna walk in has to be from PE. I mean, has to be from Eastern Cape, because we are in Eastern Cape.
mm.
And the thing is, comedians, they don't want to go on first because they fear of being forgotten. At the end of the show, no one
Oh, you
remembers
need
you.
to close the
So,
show.
no, yeah, the closing of the show depends on the celebrity. There
Oh,
has to
okay.
be a celebrity comedian, or
Ah,
someone who has dope, 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 dope material. Yeah,
mm,
so no one wanted to go on first. And I didn't want to go first because it was my first time doing Xhosa. So I
mm.
imagine going on and dying, and then, yeah. So, but no one was like, I'm going on first. So I had no choice but to raise my hand and just and
Yeah.
and and went in. So I went in, and then surprisingly I killed it. And then coming out, he
Mm,
was excited that these guys are acting like celebrities. Like, the guy who's gonna follow you is gonna die. And then the
mm,
guy who followed me from Eastern Cape died proper. So
mm,
so that night was the night where, respect was exchanged between me and him. And then we met again in Cape Town when he was doing David Gow's thing. By that time, this years later, between that
mm.
time. And then, yeah, he saw the growth. I was like, yo, I'll come to Joburg. I will, I'll make things for you happen. And I thought, black people, they talk and talk and talk and talk.
Mm,
Yeah, but I went to Joburg, and yes, it took care of me. Got me to gigs. I got to headline for the first time, got used to it. And then,
mm.
luckily, I had jokes that are like when 9 years, like in my 9 years, like so
You just pull
in
them out of
Joburg
the bag.
material. So the jokes that people know, that I uploaded, are the jokes
Mm,
that were dying proper for all those years. The jokes that
mm.
died in English and died in Xhosa, but later with time, I polished them up, and then, yeah, they put me out there.
Sure. And because Eastern Cape now, Atlantic, development, like when it comes to comedy, arts, how is it? Or do you guys still
Eastern
have to go to Joburg to actually kill it?
Eastern Cape doesn't care, bruh. Eastern Cape
Mm,
never cared, about entertainment or art. Well, that's their loss. But thanks to
mm,
social media, because social media has made people, like, now you don't need to go anywhere. Like, you just need to, buy these things,
mm,
create your own brand and whatnot, and you'll be everywhere. I mean, I'm going to Ghana, I'm going to Kenya, I'm doing all these other African countries while based in PE, and
mm,
you do your own work, and don't care about the departments of politics,
mm,
and just do your thing. Just stay away from complaining, and build yourself
mm.
like everyone else. Because Eastern Cape is not like Durban, in Durban, the government will just, oh, you've been doing shows. Here's
Yes,
money every week. But here, they don't care.
sure.
They
And I
don't
can,
care. And
yeah.
that is the thing that drives the talent to work hard.
Mm. And also, it's such a shame that
Mm?
now people still like need to go to Joburg to Durban to actually like, work. Whereas Eastern Cape, it's also like it could be doing more. There's lots of talent that comes from Eastern Cape.
Mm. And
Yeah.
there's a lot of talent. But now they I mean, besides the government doesn't care, but I think other people are starting to notice, like
Mm.
brands, I mean, radio stations now, they see that people, once you get a certain number on social media, they
Mm.
are pulling you in.
Mm.
Yeah, so social media is the thing, man. And
It has changed
once
the
you
game.
focus on that, yeah,
Mm.
it has changed the game completely. I mean, I'm talking to someone in Scotland. So that's something to brag about. And then you
And
you
hopefully,
put it out.
and God willing,
Mm.
you will be here. God willing, you will be
Yeah, I
here this
should.
year.
This year I have to be outside the continent for the first time. So yeah, I must come. I
Receive.
must come.
Put it up in the
No, I
universe.
must come. It was always up the moment I was watching the series. Is it Highlander? There's a series I like to love, but I love it's. I think it's made in Scotland. So yeah,
Well, yeah, it is made here. But I'm very strange, Mnane. My body is here in Scotland, but I consume content as a South Africa. My YouTube,
yeah,
South Africa. I don't even watch the
yeah,
soapies here. It's strange. Even abantwana bam, I
yeah.
speak to them. It's kusiXhosa, ndityumphokoqo.
Mm.
Utshilo mos wathi,
Yeah,
why
you are
why don't you
there.
come ingathi ulapha?
Yeah. Unothusile like you are harder than Tina. Harder. Uyangamandla, man. Imane sithi thina siyabhreka ngani apha siyazidla ngani siyazi uba sinesithukuthezi. Ayazi uba
So no, this year, please. We have 8 minutes left. So quickly, you were mentioned Ku Podcast and Chill by Uloyis.
Mm,
And 1 minute on that episode, they didn't know who you are. Saul was like, oh, who is it? And then the next minute, you're
mm,
opening for Podcast and Chill, APE. How does that come
mm.
about?
Well, yeah, uBraloy ntangam hlotmani yam
Wow. Yeah.
egemini. Yeah, but so yeah, I'm always taking some knowledge kuye because he knows more than me. Yeah, but so
Mm.
is one person in this whole planet who send a WhatsApp, I'm proud of you. So
Wow. Wow.
he's a dope guy. So yeah, that was it was not a surprise coming from him, but it was a surprise at the same time.
Mm.
And then yeah, and then Ututu called me. Yeah, it was a shock. Ututu called
Mm.
me, and then yeah, but I think Usol was being smart because he kept on saying, "Seya, Seya, Seya." He kept on promoting the name. I think he was being
Hey,
smart
that's
about it
live.
because he kept on repeating it. Yeah, so Usol, he was really smart, and they are friends with other
Really?
comedians because they know comedians that most people don't know, so they know the upcoming comedians, but yeah, for real, they don't know me, but they know my friends.
Ah, ah.
So when they came to PE, they made sure that it's happening, that they get to see me live. So they booked me, and then it was beautiful.
Because we've not seen the content. Is it like owned by Podcast and Chill? It's not out there.
What my set?
Ah, your
No, the
set.
set was meant. The set was meant for the audience live, for the live audience.
Okay. Okay. So
It
it was
was
not
not. It
filmed.
was meant to just,
Okay.
come down, get people into the thing.
Oh, all
It was
right.
not short.
Oh, okay.
Then they focused on shooting the. It's like Beyonce and Coachella. They are open acts, but you
Yeah.
don't get to see them. You're gonna see the main thing. So yeah,
Okay.
that's what happened.
Oh, that's dope, man. No, well done. I was like, wow.
Oh,
And
you
you,
expected the set to be
yeah, but it was a nice thing that
short.
Loyi. No, it was nice that Loyiso mentioned you, like a podcast. I was like, wow, that's dope. And you guys support each other as comedians.
Mm-hmm. We don't we unlike music, we don't have record labels, we don't
There's no
have
beef.
there's no system in place, management, don't
Mm-mm. Gatekeepers.
comedians from the
There are no gatekeepers. Comment.
Well, there are in certain levels of things, but com well, comedians, we book each other from the get-go. Like there were years, most of
Mm.
our time of our gigs, we get booked by other comedians, you
Ah,
know.
okay.
And then your skill gets better by being booked by other comedians week in and week out. We
Mm.
feed each other, we raise each other's kids. We do
Mm.
lineup shows leading to one-man shows, but and then until things start changing to corporate, and then you get those corporate gigs and whatnot. That depends on you as a comedian. But
Mm.
most of the
Mm.
time, you get booked by other comedians. It's like Skhumba saying, this is the next guy. Skhumba is gonna say, Skhumba being up there with 10,000, tens of thousands of followers in his shows, is gonna
Mm.
say, this is the next guy. Forget these guys. These guys are famous, but this one is funny.
Hello, yeah,
Yeah,
you find each other.
yeah,
So what? But
yeah. We
that's the
find each
same
other.
thing. But that's what Utol Esmo says most. Like I've put everybody on, everyone.
I was not there. I was not there, but I know Skhumba has put everyone on. I don't know about him. I don't hear those rumors about him because Skhumba runs gigs. You have to
But
run
kaloku
gigs to say those things.
but Utol Esmo kaloku was before Uskhumba because he says I even put Uskhumba on mna. Uyabo?